Hello again everyone and welcome back to Skyblock News. I'm your host Derailious and today we're going to be going over the release date for the Greenhouse update seemingly, as well as a major dev blog for the new Hypixel game mode Ravengard. Before we begin, make sure to like and subscribe, use code RAIL in the Hypixel store for 5% off your order if you're picking up anything, and without any further ado, let's get started. Starting off, if we head over to the status page for Hypixel, we can see that Skyblock will be undergoing maintenance on Monday the 15th from 8 o'clock to 14 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So that'll be from 8 a.m. to about 2 p.m. And during that time, Skyblock will be unavailable, and they are estimating this maintenance to take up to 6 hours, although realistically these usually end in 2 to 3. I imagine this is for the release of the Greenhouse, which has gotten a lot of updates on the Alpha Network and seems to be in a pretty good state. And taking a look, we have Devblog number 13, a look at Ravengard. Now this is going to be my first time reading it myself, so you are going to get my live reaction, but I'm going to try to go through this and give you guys all the details. So we start off with, hello everyone, my name is Cassius, and I am the lead designer and project manager for Hypixel Ravengard. In this design dev blog, I'd like to go over what Ravengard is in detail to keep you guys in the loop. Ravengard is a PvPvE loot extractor multiplayer game. The concept of the game is not something everyone will be familiar with. However, many of you will recognize the signs. The goal is simple: crawl through the dungeon, get as much loot as you can, defeat dangerous creatures, and leave with your loot. However, whether you are exploring catacombs, dangerous forests, or demon-infested ruins, you will also have to deal with other groups of players. Will you work with your fellow explorers, or will you defeat the others and claim their loot? Before we go further, please note that Ravengard is currently still in early development, and everything we're about to show you here is subject to change. Before we continue further, the genre of this game seems to be much akin to stuff like Dark and Darker, stuff like Tarkov, also considering other games like Arc Raiders and Marathon, which is upcoming, so it seems to be focused on trying to compete with those games in this genre, although obviously it's on the Hypixel network and built in Minecraft, which may be able to attract quite a few more players. Moving on to the actual dev blog itself, we have the Mercenaries of Ravengard. The Lords of Ravengard, a busy coastal city, have called upon all available mercenaries to assist in defeating the evil presence that lurks beneath the great city. A curse has spread throughout the dungeons, consuming the sanity of those who enter. Players will begin in the city and choose from the available classes to play. These classes include the Knight, who excels in defense and support, the Warrior, who wields large two-handed weapons with incredible strength, the Hunter, who fights from a distance with all sorts of tools and weaponry, and the Assassin, who can quickly dispatch foes without being seen in close quarters. When unlocked, the classes have access to a total of 6 unique abilities, of which 2 can be equipped at a time. Choose a combination of skills that best suit your playstyle, and assemble a party of up to 3 mercenaries. We hope to have the 4 classes above available during our initial playtests, and plan to add more before the final release. As Ravengard is our first project involving latest version technology, a tutorial will be available for players to learn the basics required to traverse the dungeons. This includes things like how to interact with doors and chests, using your abilities, fighting enemies, looting defeated foes, the blocking and parrying system, health and stamina usage, how to use the minimap and the full map, and lastly, how to extract with your loot. So it seems like they're going all in on latest version technology, with Ravengard specifically. They want to try to utilize it to its fullest potential, including a bunch of new features that they obviously have to tutorialize in order to teach new players. This next section is titled The Citizens of Ravengard. In the city, you'll find many unique characters to assist you in your adventures, from traders with whom you can trade equipment and supplies, to unique characters with all sorts of requests or quests who will offer helpful rewards and treasures. Help the citizens of Ravengard and complete the main story quests to discover the lore around Ravengard itself. So we have Wayland the Blacksmith, as well as Ashwin the Alchemist. Seems like these are NPCs which we will be able to interact with to improve our gear and maybe buy some new gear. Next, we have the gameplay of Ravengard. As mentioned above, Ravengard is a player versus environment extraction dungeon crawler. Your goal is to enter the dungeon, loot as much as you can, fight off monsters and other players, then escape with your well-earned treasures. Teams will consist of 3 players, with a maximum of up to 12 teams, so 36 total people, exploring the dungeon at the same time. You will also be able to enter solo or as a duo if you wish. However, the mode will be set for teams of 3. There will be plans to add additional specific solo and duo queues if they feel the demand is high enough and we have enough players to divide them into the separate queues, which I'm going to be honest, I would not be that shocked if they do have enough players for this. This is a very exciting concept. In the latest version of Minecraft, I think there is going to be a lot of demand, and here we have some imagery which just looks really good. I love the visuals, I love all the custom items and blocks, and just everything about this is exactly what they've been working to when it comes to Skyblock moving to the latest version for years. This is everything that they've wanted, and I imagine that they're going to be able to implement a lot of this style of stuff in Skyblock as well in the future. We'll have to wait for a 2025 recap in order to see that information, but for now, looking at Ravengard, it is extremely impressive. Moving right along, there are many dangers lurking within the dungeons, and using custom models and latest version technology, the creatures of Ravengard will have unique abilities that must either be avoided, parried, or blocked. Some attacks will show with red particles. Those attacks are unblockable. Studying these attack patterns is the key to avoiding damage and increasing your chances of survival. So here we have just someone blocking, and over here we have another enemy right there. On top of the constant battles against monsters and other mercenaries, you will have to stay wary of the death wall. Over the course of a match, a wall of death will slowly consume the dungeon, limiting the play area. This is indicated on the on-screen minimap, as well as the full map. Keep track of where the wall is and where it is closing in. The death wall is completely randomized in terms of what areas it will consume during play, and it will take around 15 minutes to completely engulf the dungeon. If you happen to find yourself within the death wall's grasp, you will take damage over time, with damage increasing in the later stages of the round. Use your minimap to optimize your route of travel. So here we have the giant death wall. It's extremely obvious, and it seems like you will need to avoid it if you don't want to face an untimely demise. In terms of the treasures of Ravengard, there are all kinds of loot to be obtained from the dungeons, from weapons, armor, accessories, to crafting materials and other valuable trinkets to be sold for a hefty sum. Mercenaries will be able to loot from treasure chests, defeated monsters, eliminated players, and all sorts of places on the map. Everything can be sold. Should you find equipment that you are unable to use due to your class, you can always sell it to a trader or to other players looking for an upgrade. However, the mercenary life comes with all sorts of risks. It's important to note that if you die in the dungeon, all of your loot, as well as your equipment, will be left behind to be scavenged by other mercenaries. This is the big thing when it comes to extraction games. You are risking a lot when you go into the dungeon. Obviously, though, not all will be lost if you end up dying. It's not like you're going to get kicked out of the mode and you're never going to be able to play again. It just means that you lose some of the equipment that you have. Another notable aspect of this are the fact that there is going to be revival statues that your teammates can use to bring you back to life. So if you are basically knocked out, someone takes all your gear, you have a chance to come back. But if you do come back, resurrected mercenaries are only brought back with a basic weapon. So you will have to find whoever took your stuff or whoever stole whatever you had and take them down in order to permanently get your stuff back. This is going to be a really interesting fighting game dichotomy where you're constantly working against the environment and against other players to try to get the most loot possible and remain alive in order to extract. In terms of how you're actually escaping during the round, escape portals will begin spawning in random areas. This is your one-way ticket back to town. Some portals will spawn in sets of 3, allowing your whole team to escape together, while others may just spawn as a single portal. Portals always close once they have been used by a mercenary, so if you have 3 people and they all want to go through this portal, you're going to have to pick somebody to send back to town. If you are within range of a portal, it will be displayed on your map. These types of portals are colored blue and have a pleasant look to them. There will also be red portals spawning around the map at the same time. These red portals are for those who wish to travel deeper into the dungeon. Taking a red portal will transport you to a different area for a harder challenge, but better treasures. So this is going to be the high risk, high reward aspect of the game here. If you're going around, you're getting some loot, and you see one of these, your team will have to make a decision. Do you send somebody in, or do you want to go all in on the current area, or do you want to just try to find an escape portal and back out with what you've gained? All of those choices are up to you. Mercenaries are encouraged to gear up and gather supplies before venturing into deeper dungeons through the red portals by selling their loot to traders and spending their coin. Unique bosses can be found both on the main floor of the dungeons as well as the deeper floors. The Wraith and the Cursed Knight can be found on the main floor, offering unique rewards to mercenaries bold enough to defeat them. Avoid ambushes from other mercenaries during these battles. And here we have what looks like the Knight as well as the Wraith, and both of them look really, really good. I'm going to be honest, the models are excellent. They've kept a Minecraft style. Like, this doesn't really feel overly realistic, which I think is the problem with some Minecraft texture packs and stuff like that. But the models look great, and I really love the Wraith. I think this is just excellently done. The team continues by stating, though we would love to talk about the deeper floors accessible through the red portals, we think it would be best if you discover those on your own. However, be warned, taking on this floor without the right equipment will be very dangerous. Something far more terrifying than anything else lurks on this floor, and we have a screenshot that is basically showing that the door is what is lurking. Don't read this on the bottom. Next, we're going to go over the PvP aspect of Ravengard. At this time, the team is planning to allow up to 36 players into the dungeon at once. That being said, there aren't enough portals to extract everyone. The dungeon has been designed so that spawn points are at a fair distance away from each other, and early pathing designs have been put in place to avoid early PvP encounters. Since the map is very large and consists of many different routes, they are hoping to balance the game to push PvP encounters to happen mid to late game, pushing players to engage each other around portals, loot, and higher tier mobs. Winning a PvP engagement will be very difficult, and will confer great rewards by allowing mercenaries to take the equipment and loot of each other. And now we have a word from Don, our absolute goat, who's been working on Skyblock stuff for a very long time. He writes, "Remember when I spoke at length about Minecraft versions and the work we put in it?" I believe that's a link to Devblog number 12. Well, this is it. This is what we've been heading towards. All the work gets us here. Custom monsters with custom models made by our in-house 3D animators with unique animations that we can set up with custom hitboxes, a build that looks amazing, littered with all sorts of furniture and blocks custom made by our own model artists, a unique interface visible while playing with minimap display made by our own UI artists, sound effects, and music. This is what we've been working on this whole time. And here we have a screenshot. This includes the custom UI. You can see your 2 abilities, as well as the minimap, and a bunch of other visual information. Also, the skeleton is staring at the player. Ravengard comes as a test of all of this, and this has been the game that they've been working on while preparing all of that new technology. They are looking forward to everyone's reaction to all of this, and they hope the game behind it gives it justice. And here is your inventory screen, which I've got to say also looks pretty great. Seems like they're also keeping the equipment style of extra slots for armor. It just seems like that'll actually be built into your inventory. Also seems like that 9th slot here will be locked, like in Skyblock. I also think this up here is very interesting. I imagine this is going to be your 2 abilities, although I'm not 100% certain. Following Ravengard, all of this technology will be used across the network, specifically within Skyblock. Combat updates are already planned with those features, as well as unique UI changes that they're hoping to improve the game with. We will be sharing more details about this in 2026 when we're ready. And here's a little chest, as you can see, that seems to be chasing down the player. I imagine that this is something that might actually end up in Skyblock because of the references here, but this could also be in Ravengard. Regardless, it looks great. Now for the moment everybody's been waiting for. When is Ravengard coming out? It is sadly not possible for the team to say for sure when Ravengard will be available to play. They are aiming for Q1 2026, but this is subject to change. They plan, however, to prepare Ravengard to release in a different way than they usually do on the Hypixel server. I wonder what that means. I imagine maybe it's going to have a separate IP, something you could connect to entirely separately. It will be on the server, but maybe there's going to be a totally separate way to access it, I would guess. During the testing period, Ravengard will be available to play for a few days at a time. They will be wiping progress and inventories in between those playtests as we balance the game, using the feedback provided by players. This process will help them polish the game into an enjoyable and stable state for the full release. They will be providing timeframes for the public playtests as soon as they are ready to do so. They look forward to seeing us all in Ravengard. Fundamentally, everything we just saw is the culmination of years of work for the Hypixel network, trying to get their abilities set up so that they could release 1.21 or equivalent modern version content. And all of those goals seem to be paying off with Ravengard. And not just Ravengard. This is something that will likely revolutionize the entire Hypixel server, allowing them to develop new content in new and interesting ways for pretty much every game mode, especially Skyblock, which is something they already mentioned. I look forward to hearing about upcoming combat content, as well as Ravengard's release. It is definitely an exciting time to be a fan of the network. At the end of the day though, my name's Derailious, thank you so much for watching this video till the end. Make sure to use code RAIL on the Hypixel store for 5% off your order, and look to the future fellas. I'll see you then.